recognizes the former chair, or former ranking member of the full committee. Some things changed while you were gone. The ranking member of the full committee, gentleman from New Jersey, Representative Pallone, for 5 minutes of questioning.
You can call me whatever you like. Congress successfully reinstated the Superfund tax in the bipartisan infrastructure law and the Inflation Reduction Act. But last year, the tax brought in more than $1.2 billion in receipts. And this represents significant savings for American taxpayers, despite being lower than Treasury's estimates. But that's what I wanted to ask you, Administrator. I understand Treasury is responsible for estimating Superfund tax receipts each year. How is the EPA adapting to significant discrepancies between the Treasury forecast and the actual Superfund tax receipts?
Well, we are continuing to collaborate very closely with our partners in Treasury. And as you've mentioned, the projections that Treasury gave us fell short this time. And so we're fine-tuning that system, which is why in this budget, we are asking for $300 million in appropriated resources. We believe that we can take that $300 million plus those tax receipts that we have seen come in and keep pace in terms of cleaning up these Superfund sites, in addition to some of the resources that you all have allocated through bill. The demand is higher than the resources that we have. Many of our communities are not as economically as vibrant as they could be because they're not as clean as they could be. And so we believe that we can make up for that gap with this appropriated request, and then the future will be brighter in terms of funding this program through tax receipts.
Well, I appreciate that, and I do actually support having additional appropriations for Superfund. You know, my fear always is, well, now we get the money from the tax, and therefore we lag on the appropriated amount. So I'm glad that this is $300 million more than last year, right, from what I understand. Well, let me ask you, what would happen to these cleanups if EPA does not receive the full amount requested, including that $300 million?
Well, unfortunately, we'll see a slowing in our ability to clean up these Superfund sites. I think that South Plainfield, New Jersey would have to wait on the cleanup of PCBs. We know that we can do it. We have the expertise. We just need the resources to keep pace. And again, when we are able to list these communities, do this work as quickly as possible, we see our communities bouncing back, not just from a health standpoint, but from an economic development standpoint as well.
And let me say, I understand you're saying you need the extra 300 because of lagging or possible lagging Superfund receipts, but I support additional funding from appropriations beyond that anyway, because we always need more money, and I don't want appropriations to just make up for the Superfund receipts. I think we should be doing both, frankly. I also wanted to applaud the decision to designate PFOA and PFOS as hazardous substances under Superfund. But I understand that you released a separate enforcement discretion policy to make it clear that the agency will focus its enforcement on the polluters who significantly contribute to the release of PFAS into the environment. So what does that mean? In other words, I know the water utilities, the farmers, they're concerned. Does this separate enforcement policy make it clear that we're talking about manufacturers? What are the different groups that you're talking about here?
Well, I appreciate that question, and we have authority to have this discretion, which we've used before, whether it's regulating lead or other listed pollutants. But I want to be very clear that we are focused on the polluters. We are focused on the manufacturers that have deposited this into our water, into our air. This enforcement discretion policy makes it very clear that we have the discretion not to pursue or go after the farmers, the water systems, those who are also being victimized by the dumping of this PFAS as well. So we wanted the public to be clear of who we were pursuing and who we're not.
Well, thank you. One last question I want to say, obviously I would like to see all the PFAS elements, designated as hazardous substances. I know that's difficult because there's so many, and you've designated now PFOA and PFOS, but are we going to see other elements of PFAS also designated at some point? Is that what's going on?
We will. I think when we look at cleanup and PFAS in our drinking water, we are pursuing the processes, the proper processes to look at the health and the economic impacts of these forever chemicals, and we will go through a rulemaking process. We've done that for cleanup for these two. We've done 6 for drinking water. We have 29 more listed, and so we're making our way through that list. Too many people have been impacted by these pervasive forever chemicals, and we're going to stay focused on the job.
Thank you very much. Thank you for all you do.
Are you back?